Right. We are live. Hi, this is Tim Sarrantonio, Neon One. Happy Friday, October 17th. It is the day after Generosity Xchange. And I am also going to be joined by Sam Nyland. Hello.
Hey, Tim.
How are you?
Doing well. How are you today?
I'm good. Welcome to a special episode of the Generosity Experience podcast. We're actually going to do it live here on LinkedIn.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Okay.
Yeah, we're like literally live, Sam. So be on your best behavior. So yeah, we're gonna try it out. You know, a somewhat late Friday live stream. We may be by ourselves. We may have a bunch of people join us. Doesn't matter. We'll be watching the comments if you do watch. But Sam, let's take 20 minutes at the most, maybe 30 if we're feeling, interesting, because I do have a video that I will want to play because I screwed up. Let's just get this out of the way, folks. Yesterday was Generosity Xchange, which is Neon One's annual virtual conference. And we had a lot of fun. We're going to talk a bit about that today. And that's kind of what we're going to do, is use this episode to unpack the event for those that missed it. Mm-hmm. But, you can also still register through the month at neon1.com/GX to get the recordings. Those are all set. But one of the things that I like to do is show like a little ending video and like a post-credit scene even. And we had even paid money to have our CEO like go to a studio and record videos for us. And that played throughout the conference, but I forgot the last one. And so, yeah. Hey, Brenda. Hello.
I was just trying to type over here on my keyboard. Hi, Brenda.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Thank you, Brenda, for joining. And so, yeah, I kind of messed up and reloaded the wrong video. So we're going to play that at the end of today. So we'll use that kind of like, we'll end our time for the show, and then we'll play that as like a special bonus for the live stream people, for like people like Brenda.
Yeah, that sounds great. And no one actually knew that you loaded the wrong video but you, Tim.
So. I know, but I knew.
Yeah.
And that bothered me. So I knew I had an opportunity here to make good. So I will flash this. Now, Brenda, out of the gate, you're getting swag. Okay. So we're going to follow up. And you're getting swag just because you commented. That like this is part of the show live, is if you're here, until I run out of stuff, I'm going to give things away. So Brenda, will be in touch. I'm gonna follow up after this. I had to go take my kids to a pep rally, so it might be a little bit after that. But you're getting a swag box, Brenda. Thank you. Sam, from your perspective, how was Generosity Xchange?
I mean, it was, I think, one word: inspiring. It was fantastic. I'm sorry if I'm sniffing a little. It was also a ton of work, but I think it went off without a hitch. I really walked away, honestly, with two kind of clear themes that just kind of kept coming up. Really, no matter who was speaking or kind of what topic we were digging into, and I was kind of manning the tech stage, but of course I'm jumping between, the main stage and trying to get some understanding of those speakers and things like that. And the first one is something that I feel like we talk about a lot, but effective fundraising is relational. It's not transactional. And it kept showing up again and again. Yeah. So whether I was on the tech stage talking about, marketing or volunteer engagement or events, like the conversation always came back to relationships, to connection, to making people feel seen and valued for being a part of something. So that was one big takeaway. And then we'll dive into kind of likely Rachel's kind of closing session, but she said something in there that I know we got a lot of chat comments about, but she said generosity doesn't wait for permission. Yeah. And I think that is honestly just such a powerful reminder. Haley, who does all of our design, was like, let's put that on a sticker for next year.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's super powerful. I think especially nonprofit folks are like, oh, I have to have everything all set up and planned, and and it's not, you don't have to. You can take action all the time. And I just really think generosity can always thrive when you act with intention and heart. And I could go on and on, but that's kind of my bigger theme takeaways.
Yeah, and I think other people felt that. We also have Renee here in the chat.
Thank you, Renee.
So we'll be swag box coming to you, Renee, as well. See, we're keeping it going. And I think that's one of the things that like definitely stuck with me. What I also think is important is that like you may not want it to, wait per se, but you also want to bring people along for the journey too. And so I think that's an important point where, and we may have lost Sam on our live stream here. I'm not sure if you are still here, Sam. Yep. So Sam will rejoin us. This is the fun part about being live. And that actually does connect to what happened with the Diane Yentl session, is that, it's always a lot to try to organize those types of things. So I'll give you a little behind the scenes on that. As Sam gets added back into the stage here, a lot of coordination to get a keynote like that put together, and a lot of different, perspectives and people, because you want to make sure that everybody feels involved. And the original vision that I had, even for that panel, was we needed that kind of local all the way to that national connection. And so it was so critical, I think, to even ensure that Anne Gingrich was there. And she's such a delight. I've known Anne for years. And it's just so much more powerful to understand when Diane's talking about these big kind of scary things. And she's done so much amazing work for us and on behalf of us in such a short period of time. Keith, that was a question Keith actually came up with. Because we worked on a lot of the questions. We had a lot of calls just to kind of figure out how we want to talk about it. And so that was one where he's like, I just started too. And so that was a fun question for him to kind of pitch to her. But at the end of the day, everybody had to feel kind of comfortable with what we were doing too. And you could definitely feel that energy in the crowd. And so I loved it. I hope Sam is able to rejoin us, because I want to have a little bit of a, chat about what she saw on the tech stage, but I'll keep it rolling here. And so also I do want to flash, because we have some folks who are in the chat, Brenda and Renee, for instance, but I am also going to use the Wheel of Generosity. So this is one of those things that in the podcast recording, I'm not going to go back to this too much, because you're going to be like, what is he doing here? I can't even see what he's seeing. But what I am showing on the screen now is what over 1,000 names look like inside a spinner wheel. So we're going to pop that out at the tail end of the episode here. I know I did Sam and her internet. It's having a blast right now, it looks like. So, and Brenda from who's listening in live said that session was incredible for me in terms of perspective and building confidence about how our local organizations can do more to engage. And I think that's definitely correct. So yeah, I think, when putting the conference together, so I'll give a little bit of behind the scenes on how we actually build Generosity Xchange, at least, how I've done it since 2020. Thinking about the agenda is really important, because, it's 2 days, it's virtual. You have to kind of put yourselves in the shoes of the people who are actually going to sit there, and why are they going to sit there for that long? Because we actually had it where the average time spent across the event was 5 hours. And that's a lot of time for people to commit to anything. And so professional development is very important. And so adaptability is also important too. So when choosing the platform, you want something easy to use and log in. Right, Sam?
Right. Can you hear me? Oh my goodness.
Yes. So welcome back to the stage.
Thank you.
That's it. We just got to hear you. Remember, it's still a podcast episode at the end of the day. So
True.
So I was just talking a bit about how we kind of think about the agenda, and I would say that this year, Sam, this is actually good timing. So you didn't, I talked about the Wheel of Generosity. Here, I'll even flash it for you. I think you'll be able to see it. That's what 1,000 names looks like in there. Each of those little.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So we'll spin that just for like one person. That's it. Just the people who like showed up. So like we'll link to this in the show notes for anybody listening, so you'll be able to watch the live stream, and this is about 11 minutes in. So it's kind of cool. You'll be able to kind of look at that. So
yeah.
Okay. So Sam, when we were thinking about the agenda, this is the year that kind of my dreams finally came true, and we had like a deep amount of customers, Neon One folks join. Can you talk about that experience? How do you find the folks who are going to take time out of their day? We actually got a really nice note from Dawn from the W Connection, like even talking about like what a pleasure it was to participate in the actual conference itself, and that she even like had somebody already reach out, to like, hey, like spotlight and that type of stuff. So what is it like? How do you find folks? How do you connect with folks? How do you make it think that it's going to be worth their time, actually?
Yeah. So what we've done, or what I typically do, is I generally talk with our behind the scenes, but also client facing teams. So client enablement teams, implementation teams who have worked with, all of our clients that we're kind of showcasing, and ask them, hey, I ran, for example, an event session, right? Yesterday afternoon, and talked with them and said, hey, who's using Neon One tools in a really cool way that we can highlight, that I can reach out to. So for example, yesterday's tech stage session with Paul Cianowa, I think I'm pronouncing that right, from the Binghamton Philharmonic Orchestra.
Well, it's Binghamton.
Binghamton, I know.
I'm going to pull a New York on you on that one, because that I know that, because that's
what did I say? Binghamton.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
it's
you
like
for the
Steve
correction.
Hams in Albany, right? The Simpsons reference.
Yes,
but yeah, I digress. I just as a New Yorker, I have to defend that.
Please. And I don't know if this is like diving into it. I think what was really cool is we try to find clients that are using Neon One tools in a way that, like Paul, for example, right? He's using arts people to run his roughly 12 to 15 performances a year that have a capacity of attendance from like 130 to 1,500 people, right? So using that for his ticketing and his subscriptions, but then he's also using Neon CRM for his big fundraising mac and cheese fest, which also has like 1,000 people in attendance. So he talked a lot about, being able to see all of that information inside of his CRM system, because arts people and Neon CRM work together. But then I really like the juxtaposition of having someone like Lorraine Kowalski, who's part of Decatur Makers, where Decatur Makers is a maker space, essentially. And she sets up all of their workshops, their trainings, their classes with next gen events, in the sheer volume of events is way higher. So it's like 400 to 500 events they host throughout the year, but the volume of attendees is different. So they have a cap on their workshops at like 20 or 30 people. So it was really cool to see how they're both like we dove into kind of their planning strategies and things like that. And then talking about like registration. And we talked a lot about like metrics, which was a fun conversation to have because they're both, I mentioned something like at the end of an event, you just kind of know whether or not it was a good event, right? Like you can look at people's faces when they're exiting and they're smiling or they're talking about it. So there's not only just like the quantifiable metrics that you can see in like a dashboard, but it's like really understanding if they had a good time. And I totally digressed from your initial question. But I think that's really kind of the source. I like to go to our client facing teams to first hear the storytelling of the clients that they're working with to better understand not just like, oh, look, they're using our events tools. Great. But like really trying to build a story around that. So long story short, that's how I went ahead and sourced our clients.
Well, yeah. And I think that's kind of what, I take that same ethos to the kind of the main stage, which we the way we've organized it. One this year, I said, okay, I had attended the Aspen Institute's Trust and Practice Summit earlier this year in Chicago, and it like really transformed my way of thinking about event planning. And so this year was we had more speakers because we had shorter sessions.
My phone's gonna die now. So
oh, jeez,
it's okay.
You're like Rachel Dratch on Amy Poehler's first podcast. Oh, Sam. So let's just we'll cut to the chase in 10-minute stops. Okay, so yeah, and all we're doing is just kind of doing a recap. And so one, folks, you could go to the replays at neon1.com/gx. But when we designed it, we also want to think about the energy of how people are going through the day. And some folks are going to be there because they want to hear about technologies, like Neon CRM stuff or what's going on with payments and stuff like that. It's as close to a user conference that we have. But I think if it was just and I've been to a bunch of different conferences. I always pay attention what other entities do and stuff like that. But what I loved about the Trust and Practice Summit was it just seemed like very actionable immediately too, but there was still that collaborative element and there was a lot of storytelling. So those 10-minute interview sessions that we did were very inspired by that. And so to be able to kind of have people do almost like a skills share or their own leadership insights was great. And that's kind of how when I worked with Rachel D'Souza, we spent months going back and forth on how we're going to design that main stage together and what that flow would be and who would be on that. So people like Daisy Hahn, people like Tamika Perrine, Rachel made those introductions to us. And so that was great to be able to have those voices too, leading all the way up to what we heard from with Diane and Anne and Rachel together with Keith. But yeah, maybe let's talk a bit about some of the fun parts. What do you think was fun about like the event?
I really thought the bingo was actually pretty fun.
Damn right it was.
Not pretty fun. It was really fun. And I actually came into it thinking like, how is this gonna work? And it did.
A bunch of the team asked me the same thing. I had a very not awkward, Nick, if you're listening to this, it wasn't awkward. It was more like Nick on our team, on our marketing team was like, you're doing what? Like, how is this gonna work? And I'm like, it's bingo. He's like, but like how? And so, yeah, tell me about that experience because it's kind of delightful to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, it like, because I don't know, you obviously are like, oh, I have granted you had a digital bingo card and stuff like that, but I just loved, I loved seeing people in the chat, just like, I mean, it was very participatory. Like a lot of people took advantage of it and were like, oh, probably because they were wondering the same thing that I was, which was, how is this going to work actually? And then it started working and I was like, oh, fun.
Yeah, we had over 100. It's actually on the page that's going to be like when you go to the Neon One website and it says like some facts about the event. I put how many cards got created during that, because we had over 100 people create cards and played.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild. So, yeah. Oh, I'm happy that you thought that was fun.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
I also was a big fan, of course, of the pet parade. I always think that's the best.
Yes. And the pet parade
then I'm
is
like,
in the replays.
Yes. And then I don't know if we talked about this externally, but Neon One had our own Spirit Week all of last week. And
we talked about it a little bit. Yeah. Our new social media guy, Daryl's been kind of really taking charge on that. So yeah.
And I just think that was just an added, like, I don't know, it just helps get people engaged, because again, it's talking about generosity. So it just put people in the right headspace. And it was really fun just to learn about people that you don't normally interact with on a day-to-day basis. So.
Well, I loved it. I it's the 6-1. I think there's so much that we can of course improve on, and I'm always thinking about that when it comes to events like this. What's the next way that things can evolve. But I'm very happy with what we did this year, and I'm very proud to say that I made every single donation to all of our speakers who participated. I went through and did that this morning, so that's all set. When we do pay our speakers too. So I got that going to it. That makes me feel good for that. That's important to me, on a personal level. But yeah, Sam, so how about we do this? Because I know my little video is about 7 minutes. I don't want that to count toward the podcast recording time. So, but I would like to kind of wrap up by 3, at the 30-minute mark for everybody here. I want to spin the wheel of generosity we're going to find one rando in that 1,000+ names. And those are only the attendees. That's not even all the registrants. That's just the attendees that you saw.
I know, that's pretty cool.
So, what is one thing, because Keith asked this, and at the end of the keynote, what is one commitment that you're going to take and carry through the rest of the year?
Yeah, and this is... and this was obviously within our day-to-day work here at Neon One. So mine is, and this is something I try to do, but I think because I was able to kind of interview folks on the tech stage, our customers, it's really putting myself back into their shoes and remembering the days of when I was working in a nonprofit and managing a giant volunteer spreadsheet and doing all of the day-to-day busy tasks, trying to get everything done for a big fundraising event, and just trying to remember on a day-to-day basis that yes, we are providing technology to help accelerate the impact of nonprofit organizations, but at the end of the day, all of the people that came to Generosity Xchange are the ones out there doing the real groundwork. So that is my big takeaway. Just take a step back and remember that.
And I'll save mine for the video, because I get on a soapbox for mine. So this is partially why I'm forcing it. So what I'd love to do now, Sam, because I know you got, it's almost the weekend. It's later Friday for us. We did a lot of work this week.
I hope my power doesn't go out. That's
exactly
that'll be the next step.
So what I'd love to do is let's spin the wheel at least once, and then I'll put on, and then we'll kind of wind things down for this, and then we'll pick things back up on the regular podcast cycle after, back to our regular scheduled programming. What that may be, I don't know yet. But in terms of the episode, folks, we're gonna say thanks for listening. We'll see you in a few weeks, and otherwise, thanks for joining Generosity Xchange.
Yes, thank you. Let's spin this wheel.
Okay, So that is 24 minutes in, and then I'll cut the episode there. So that's how we're going to do that on the live stream. Yes, we just ended the podcast episode. Now it's live. So there you go. So I'm going to spin this, and we're going to watch my little video, and then we're going to end the thing. So we won't even come back on screen. So don't worry about that. So you can watch, though. I'd like you to watch if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Because then you'll see like the whole vision.
I'm gonna watch for sure.
Brenda and Renee, then I'll turn around and get you your swag boxes after this. But let's spin that wheel. Let's see. Oh my God, it is. It's like really dragging. Yeah. Oh my God. Brianna
Halsey.
Okay. So I'm gonna reach out to Brianna after this, and there we go. We'll stop sharing that.
Have fun.
Sam, always a pleasure. And
always, Tim.
I'm gonna say let's kind of like put ourselves back mentally. We're back on the stage. You weren't able to get on the stage yesterday, so let's like make believe that we're ending Generosity Xchange again. And so, tell the people thank you, and then lead us into the message with Keith, because this is almost like recreating what we should have had yesterday. Okay, you get that. You get to have the final word before we go into the final segment.
Alrighty, I would say thank you everybody for joining our 2-day Generosity Xchange virtual conference. As we all know, when you focus on relationships and when you focus on connections, of course, we all need those transactions. But when you stop waiting for permission to start building community, that's when real generosity happens. So thank you all for joining and being a partner with us.
Awesome. So we're going to play our final video, and then we'll end today's live stream. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and have a lovely weekend. Have a lovely, great end of the year. It's going to be awesome. We'll talk to you soon.
Everyone, Keith Reed again, and I'm here to formally close out this year's Generosity Xchange. Over the past 2 days, we've heard inspiring visions of change for the sector, explored practical ways nonprofits can bring that change to life, and shared a first look at how Neon One's nonprofit relationship management platform will continue to make that work easier, smarter, and more impactful. While all replays will be available within 2 hours of today's sessions wrapping up, our team is also curating the entire conference into a resource hub you can return to throughout the year. And the work doesn't end here. Just like when you wrap a major event at your own organization, the real impact comes from what you build next. That's why I want to point you to the Giving Tuesday Resource Center, a place where you'll find actionable insights, sector data, and practical tools you can use right away for Giving Tuesday and your year-end campaigns. 3 quick requests before we part ways. First, please take a few minutes to complete the short survey about your Generosity Xchange experience. Since 2020, this event has grown and evolved because of your feedback, and we want to keep shaping it to meet the needs of nonprofits of every size. Second, if you enjoyed what you've learned at the conference and are a Neon One user who is excited to share how you'll apply these learnings into your work, head to the takeaway sections on the left-hand side. Anyone who records a testimonial video will receive a special thank you from us at Neon One. Third and finally, stay connected with us through the Giving Tuesday Resource Center and Neon One's year-round programming. You'll have ongoing opportunities to learn, share, and lead alongside your peers. On behalf of all of us at Neon One, thank you for attending, and thank you for all you do every day to make generosity possible. Until next time.
I wanna change the world
I control the video stuff, and hence I get the post-credit scene. I like doing these because I was inspired by the Marvel movies, like the first time that Samuel Jackson talked as Nick Fury to Iron Man in the first Iron Man movie with John, that Jon Favreau directed, and Robert Downey Jr. And it was such a cool film. In fact, I went to that film, and my wife was in the audience, but we hadn't met each other yet. But it was just such a cool moment to have that connect. But now it feels like it's a slog. Like I have to keep up with all this lore. And I kind of like the lore too. But at the end of the day, I only have so much time. And I sometimes feel fundraising and nonprofit technology can feel like that. What's the newest thing that I have to figure out? And how do I go do something with that? And I've been at Neon for 14 years now. I started in 2011. And even before that, I was using, I found my old website that I built, for the very first nonprofit that I worked at. And it was just so hard to figure everything out. So I don't want to sound like an old man, and I'm not going to hold you hostage. But I think that, I want you to end with this, right? I strongly believe in Daniel Kahneman's The Peak End Rule. And so we've heard some really amazing things, but we've also heard a lot of stuff grounded in reality. And I want to tell you right now, doesn't matter if you are just starting a nonprofit, doesn't matter if you have been doing things for about 2 years and you're feeling really burned out. Doesn't matter if you've been a really rockin' major gifts officer at a really sophisticated organization, and you're just kind of excited about the possibilities that something like artificial intelligence brings, for example. Doesn't matter, because every single one of those things has one thing in common that sets us apart from the for-profit business world, even that Neon One exists in, right? We're a for-profit business, but we're here for you. We're here for you. And generosity is everywhere. It is not a transaction. It is not a check. It is not a DAF payment. The gift is a thing. The person is part of what you're actually trying to build around. And the technology can be transformative. That's why I love Generosity Exchange. That's why I want to kind of just leave you with this little thought that there is power in building community, even through these digital spaces. We went from 2020, 600 people, just kind of taking a chance on this. The platform crashed. And we had to shift it to YouTube. And now we've had the most people ever register for this, over 2,500. Wow, you did that. And that's why I'm so happy to be part of this community. And I'm going to end on that. I just know all of you are doing so many amazing things, and you deserve so much. And hopefully this helped give a little bit of that. So let's go into the rest of 2025 strong, 2026 strong. We've heard from Diane Yentl and the rest of all these amazing folks, our sponsors, the team here at Neon One. All of this is to help you. And I hope it did that. And I think we're going to really kick some ass. So see you out there. Let us know how we can help. Have a great night.